Handy.
Bangalore is covered by Shizu.
Abba.
Shizu will not be available with a time low. Emergency stabilization will not be available.
Okay. Deep inhale. డీప్ ఇన్హేల్ నాకు ఆ ఒక్క హాఫ్ అన్ అవర్ నేను అంబులెన్స్ నుంచి ఎప్పుడు బయటకు వస్తానని నాకు ఎంత అనిపించిందంటే ఆ టైంలో నాకు నిజంగా లైక్ దట్ వాజ్ ద టైం. నేను విపాసన మెడిటేషన్ ఇవన్నీ చెప్తా కానీ లైక్ ఐ ఆల్వేస్ స్కిప్పింగ్ దెమ్. బట్ దట్ ఈజ్ వాట్ లైక్ లైఫ్ ఎంత సింపుల్ ఎంత ఇదే అంటే దట్స్ ఓన్లీ థింగ్. అది కొంచెం దొరకడం కొంచెం అంటే ఇఫ్ యూ ఫీల్ అన్కంఫర్టబుల్ రైట్, no words to explain that feeling.
Yeah. With resources are helpless. Imagine people without resources. It's
Yeah.
even more tougher.
More tougher. Yeah.
Okay. So who wants to take the lead on second chapter? Rishi, you want to go or Peter?
Actually, I like third chapter more than anything else. Actually, it was different kind of. I don't want to be a sectarian or anybody. This is like a bit more into what maybe I'm liking more than.
Okay.
Yeah, I
So,
don't know.
you say the third chapter for Kishore. Second chapter.
Nothing of that sort actually.
You take it. Okay.
Yeah, yes.
This is start. You can. ఎప్పుడు చేయడం కదా వీఆర్ ఆల్వేస్ give it to somebody else to start. So really, is that what you guys think? Okay, let me.
No, that is letting others, prove themselves or at least giving a chance.
Yeah. So let me talk about the second chapter and the gist of it as I understand. So the second chapter focuses, at least the author seems to focus on three aspects. One is whether how we understand a number or a score in terms of our achievements. So do we think that our achievements are so constrained that we assign that a number and the number defines whether it's a score or a score in an exam or a score on a sport or our ability or performance in one venue. If that performance at one point in time defines who we are, so that's one thing that the author's focus seems to focus. Second thing is how failures are identified by either of these two mindsets. Fixed mindset, how do they think it is, and the growth mindset, how do they think of failures. Third one is how do we assign, like how do we think of, like how fixed mindset would think of them as every opportunity to prove themselves versus how a growth mindset thinks of that same opportunity or challenge. It's the opportunity to learn. So the difference between the approach of a fixed mindset and a growth mindset. And those are the three, I would say, three aspects that the author focused on, and goes into the details of how, in examples, whether it's the assessments at school, like how teachers think of, like one of the examples that the author gives is where the students are put through a bunch of tests, and the teachers are asked to extrapolate the students' performance into the future. And some teachers were happy to provide a sense of what the performance of the students would be in the future. Whereas one teacher kind of writes back and says, how do you assess somebody's performance in the future based on one score, right? Which is different than what most people think, that we look at 10th grade exam results and say, okay, I mean, this person is great, and we try to extrapolate what they could perform in the future. Right? So those are, I would say, the three big takeaways for me when it comes to this chapter. And let me see if there's anything else that I missed. opportunity to prove himself or herself, versus the growth mindset thinks of that opportunity as an opportunity to learn. So if they get stretch assignments, the fixed mindset look at it as because they look at it as an opportunity to prove themselves. If they run into challenges, they think they are not good, and kind of I don't know how to say it, but on the other hand, the growth mindset looks at an opportunity to learn, and they are okay if they fail, and they look at us. I mean, they ask the questions, they are engaged in those opportunities to learn more from either the teachers or the people that they work with. What else? I think the one that kind of hits close to home is the section that talks about how an score or exam is how we look at it as something that's defines us forever. Right? So when I read stories about how students don't handle their students going to depression because of the 10th grade or 11th grade exams or higher secondary exams. This is something that kind of puts close to home is look at one test performance and think that they're not good at all and they won't be successful in life. I think our system somehow is kind of reinforces this kind of behavior. Our language when we talk to kids is reinforced time and again. And I think given the social system that we have, both in terms of entertainment, movies, kind of reinforce that a test score at a particular given in time somehow defines who the person is. Because we keep referring to it that way in our conversation. And that's kind of hit close to home for me on this topic. What else? That's about it. John McEnroe's example was a classic one. I've read this in several places, not just in this book. I've read it in other books by other chapters, especially Malcolm Gladwell, where he calls out John McEnroe. And John McEnroe, back in the days, back from my days, back in the 80s and 90s, I mean, yes, he was a revered tennis player. But then his popularity and his sports, the starness of his sport, that quickly diminished as other players came on board. But I didn't know that there was so much going on behind the scenes. Turns out, I mean, he was pretty candid later on in life that his attitude towards failure is one of the reasons why he couldn't be as successful. So whenever he had failures, he actually blamed it on the system. He blamed it on other folks rather than taking ownership of that. So time and again, John. What is that?
So I had some confusion regarding that point. Okay, see that attitude of McEnroe is something which you would have from his childhood, right? I mean, it's not that he got into that attitude only after he got into the success to second level of tennis, right? I mean, in the sense, yeah. So it would have been some childhood habit, right? In the sense, yeah. So in that case, right, how did he come up to the level that he came up to, right? I mean, it's not that like the book says, if you have a growth mindset, then you will succeed, or likely you would have successful. But if you have fixed mindset, then you are not going to succeed, right? I mean, it's chances are very less, right?
Yeah, I mean, I would say that it's not a fixed mindset don't succeed. They do succeed, but the way I see it is the fixed mindset when they succeed, they think of it as a reflection of their capability rather than an opportunity to learn. Right? So that's why when they fail, they actually take it very personally. They think of it as they're not good at all, rather than taking it that also as an opportunity to learn. Right? I think that's the difference between fixed mindset and growth mindset. So while John McEnroe would have had it as a childhood, would be maybe not, but when he ran into a problem, he did not demonstrate leadership. Right? It was more he ran into a problem.
Okay, maybe
mean he won't be successful. He could be successful.
No, successful, I understand. Okay, successful, he could be successful with fixed mindset also. Yeah, in sports side, generally, if you're not thinking of growing, right, it's very, very tough. And at an international level, that to tennis and all, it's very tough to go to a level, any level, basically, any level where you can be talked about, right? So,
That's right.
is it something which that he would have developed over the period once he got into some kind of elite level?
Yeah, could be. So for some folks, when they get to a status, it starts to kind of grow on them.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
They think that they have done everything that they want, and they are done. That's when they go from a growth mindset to a fixed mindset. They could switch over, right? Now, if you make the mindset aside, what happens is then in sports, you're not competing with the same set of folks every year. Every year there's a player coming on board. Now, unless you game up to date, you keep your like the star game. Every new player is also going to challenge you. If you think that you are the best and you don't practice enough, or you think that you're the best and you don't and you think that you are the only reason why you succeed, not the team that helps you out, then I think what on your mindset is that you are the star. I mean, stardom kind of starts to kind of diminish.
Bring in the
look at you differently, right? Like I like in one of the I was watching an interview the other day. This was probably a long time ago, where Thapar was asking Shah Rukh Khan whether he is an actor or a star. Right? So this was several years ago, probably about 5-6 years ago. I still remember that question because it was such a distinct question. I felt it was a right question, but a very distinct one. Who are you? Are you a star or an actor? And the way, and it didn't dawn on me, at least at that point, I did not understand what was the difference that he was trying to draw. Now, having read so many books and having had several years of experience post that, I now understand the difference, what he was trying to get to. And the way Shah Rukh Khan responded back seemed very different, right? I mean, he said, when you have so much success, the stardom kind of starts to kind of take control of your life. So he seemed to relish in the starness of his in his field. So that's why when Thapar asked that question, what he was trying to draw is you somehow grow beyond the character. It is Shah Rukh Khan who's doing it rather than the character, right? When an actor grows beyond his character, then you know that the stardom is kind of trying to take control of the movie, and that's what happens in our movies. If you look at Shah Rukh Khan acting, at least not, after he has gained success, it is Shah Rukh Khan. It is not the character anymore. So at the point when Thapar was asking that question, I didn't really realize what he was trying to draw, but now I start to understand that there is a difference between a star and an actor. An actor brings the character out, while as a star overshadows the character itself.
Interesting.
So when John McEnroe did this, so when success came into his peak, right, when he was successful over and over and over again, I think what dawned on him is basically the stardom kind of overshadowed his capability.
Yeah.
And I think he switched at that point.
Yeah. That makes sense. Yeah.
See, I have a point to add here. Just like Ikigai, right? The thing is, you can be in growth mindset in some of the aspects. Maybe he's, he's an athlete and he's in that, but his temperament towards, responding to the others and all that, maybe that's in fixed mindset. That is one. And second thing is, he realized everything after he left the game or after something happened. Maybe because of whatever the bit of rules or whatever the rules are.
Yeah. Go ahead.
So
From where are we getting that noise?
When we say that growth mindset, it's not for everything in the whole horizon of things, right? It's only for a particular thing. He is in a really in growth mindset, like maybe towards his game and how he delivers something, but not in controlling his emotions or anything. He may not be. Is what I.
But aren't those two linked though? So when you, like for example, Kurt Russell is considered to be one of the great actors. When you are in the shadow, and when the spotlight is on you, there's a sense of that you demonstrate a lot more leadership, right? So when Stuart Russell was in New York in a hotel and he didn't like something, right? Because he was trying to reach somebody in Australia and the phone did not connect. What did he do? He threw the phone at the waiter. Right? At some point, your stardom is trying to take over you because you think that you can do it. So he was sued and he paid and all that stuff happened, right? But I think John McEnroe fell into that same category where even though he could have had growth mindset at some point, but when you run into a new player and the new player dominates the game, or let's say he is successful, or let's say he wins over that game, now how do you take that failure? Do you take that as a failure of your capability, or do you think that you have found a match where you start to work even harder? What Jan McEnroe seemed to have done is he stopped working harder. He thought that it was his natural ability that got him there, so he stopped working harder.
That's true.
And then he started to show that frustration on everybody around him. Right? He threw the racket on the umpire once. He threw. He upset the or he hurt the right? Yeah. He starts to show up all of these signs, and eventually it starts to diminish. Right? His talent, his ability to play better.
Yeah, that's true because the fixed mindset, what happens on the court, that was getting reflected everywhere else, right?
Yeah.
It's not that he had fixed mindset in some other places and growth mindset on tennis. Possible, but yeah, it doesn't look like that's what the case. Yeah.
I think when you work with a new player and the new player, like for example the newer ones, right? When you find a challenge, when you have a player that is head to toe with you, the way to take it is a positive light. So it's not like in sports. There is if you think that every challenge is a question on your natural ability, then you have a problem because every time you are on the court, there's somebody else who can do better than you. You cannot. There's always a better player on the market. Right? So if the people don't, if the players do not put up their best every single time, and they think that it comes naturally to them, then they're in for a big surprise.
So I want to add few points. There are few interesting, in fact, like they have drawn differences between fixed mindset, how they think, and growth mindset, how they think, the approaches, how they see into their lives. Those points have, in fact, like I like them very much, and those examples are also very interesting and very good to know. I talk about very simple examples like. How a fixed mindset person thinks about his how he wanted to be his partner, right? Like for example, most of the times like fixed mindset people think that they should be always to be praised, or else they should be like center of attraction, something as such, and they are not open for feedback and all of that stuff. But whereas growth mindset people, like they are open for feedback, they talk like constructive criticism, they are very much welcome for constructive criticism and many things like I have seen those kind of differences which they have drawn, and it's very interesting like to read those things, right? We can relate like where like I can relate myself like which mindset I belong to in those categories by reading those lines.